Greetings, everyone. My name is Dahlia Belore. Today is my first day with you all as a novice maid. I hope I can be of service to you all, the girl said in a loud voice. The older maid asked Thelma to give Dahlia a tour of the house. Dahlia felt like she was in a dream. The girl had wanted to work in a rich man's house for a long time. She was lucky enough to get a job at the Jufgenschultz Manor. Jufgenschultz Manor was the largest in the kingdom. It belonged to one of the dukes. The servants' wages were the highest in the country. Dahlia wanted to earn money so that she could open her flower store when she returned home. Dahlia, come here and look at this. What you see in front of you is a northern forest. See the roof behind the trees? That's the outhouse. No matter what happens, no matter who says what, you must not go near it, Thelma told the girl. If you want to work here for a long time, you have to follow this rule. Everyone who went there was soon fired. Dahlia wanted to forget about the outhouse as soon as possible. She had a goal to make money. She didn't want to get fired. However, talk of the outhouse came up every now and then in the manor. No one knew exactly who lived there, so everyone was curious. Some of the estate workers claimed that there was a ghost living in the outhouse, the existence of which the Duke was trying to hide. Ghost is a nickname given to the Duke's youngest son who lives there alone. There were two opinions. Some workers said that the Duke's son is very ugly, so he doesn't want to show him to the world. Others assured that he was insane and could cause harm to those around him. Dahlia worked at the estate for a little over a month. She was glad that a maid of her rank was not allowed anywhere near the outhouse. Dahlia hoped to continue working quietly, gradually moving towards her dream. Go take this package to the outhouse. The older maid held out a small parcel to Dahlia. I would ask Thelma, since she is handling this, but she is not at the manor at the moment. I'm afraid you are the only one I can trust with this errand. But, ma'am, Thelma told me not to go near the outhouse under any circumstances, Dahlia muttered. The older maid assured the girl that it was a quick errand, and nothing would happen in such a short time. But you are not allowed to pass this errand on to the other girls. I chose you specifically because I haven't seen you ever gossip. Now go and carry this package, and try to be back in time for roll call, ordered the head maid. Walking through the northern forest, the girl muttered to herself wordlessly that everything would go well. She was worrying for nothing. It was a quick task that required no effort. It was unlikely that anything would happen to her. The outhouse turned out to be quite spacious. It was cozy and nicely decorated. The girl headed for the staircase. She knew that the office of the master of the house was on the second floor. Cautiously knocking, the girl entered the office. She was surprised to see a handsome young man in front of her. Dahlia reminded you that this man can carry bad energy. He's dangerous and violent. There's a reason he has such a strange nickname. The Duke's youngest son was a cursed bastard, an indelible stain on the Duke's legacy. His name was Isaac Jufgenschultz. A fascinating puzzle called White Knight, don't you think? Did you know that all the pieces in it are white? It took me 2 whole days to put it together, said Isaac to the girl. It was only after Isaac's words that Dahlia noticed the assembled white puzzle on the floor. I think I'm beginning to understand why they call him a ghost. It's like his appearance is out of this world, the girl thought to herself. Did you bring me the book like I asked? Isaac asked. Dahlia held out the package to him. Isaac opened the package right in front of the girl. Under the wrapping was the book Treasure Hunt. When Dahlia saw the book, she gave an involuntary gasp. She had wanted to read it for a long time. You mean you can read? Did you go to school? Isaac clarified. My little sister loved it when I read her the books the bookstore threw away. With the help of acquaintances and neighbors, I learned to read, Dahlia replied. Your parents must be proud of you because you managed to learn to read practically on your own. Not everyone can do that, and not everyone has the desire to do it, said Isaac to the girl. I guess if my parents were alive, they would be proud of what I've managed to accomplish. Lowering her eyes to the floor in a sad voice, said Dahlia. I'm sorry, I didn't know about that. Isaac regretted speaking at the girl's parents. Dahlia hastened to assure him that it was okay. He had no way of knowing that. If you like to read, you can borrow any books you want here. Consider this something of an apology from me, said Isaac. Well, what can I say to you? Thank you so much for this, exclaimed the girl. You have nothing to thank me for. These books have been standing here for a long time. I have read them all by now. It would be better if someone got them out to read again. Isaac took several books off the shelf. You shouldn't refuse. Take these books and read for your own pleasure. Isaac held out a stack of books to the girl. By the way, and you still haven't told me your name. What's your name? Isaac asked. Dahlia told him her name. Isaac asked the girl if she would come to him again. I have heard several times that the Duke's youngest son is a real tyrant and an extremely cruel man. But what I saw turned out to be the exact opposite, Dahlia thought to herself. The Duke's youngest son turned out to be elegant, kind, and generous enough to lend expensive books to a servant like me. I wouldn't call him a ghost. He's more like an angel. Isaac knew that all the people around him either hated him or feared him. The nobles often looked down on him. He was surprised that his new maid, Dahlia, treated him humanely. There was no fear or contempt in her eyes. Isaac Hoover's assistant entered the room. He inquired if everything was all right. Hoover noticed that a girl he had not seen before was coming out of the outhouse. The maid came by to bring me a package. I'd like to point out that she's rather unusual. She was the first maid who could withstand my gaze while looking me in the eye. She must not have listened to the rumors about me yet, replied Isaac. Grover, there is something you and I need to do. I'm sure I can get myself one of the maids. I want to approve of some. You mean I'm in charge of the outhouse now? Dahlia clarified. Sir Isaac personally requested you specifically. That was reported by the maid who went to the outhouse this morning. So from now on, you will be in charge of all matters in the outhouse. The head maid replied, The details of your work will be told by Thelma, but don't worry too much, you won't have to do much work. So what am I supposed to do now? The only place I've been told to avoid if I want to stay in this job for long is the outhouse, and now I'm the head maid in it. Surprised, the girl thought as she followed Thelma. Did something happen in the outhouse yesterday? Thelma asked. No, nothing unusual happened. I just handed over a package. Thelma, I want to stay working here as long as possible. I really need this job. I don't know what to do now. In an agitated voice, the girl said, I understand you met the Duke's youngest son Isaac yesterday, am I right? What can you tell me about him? Thelma inquired. He's not at all what they say about him. I was pleasantly surprised. It's completely incomprehensible to me where so many horrible rumors about him come from. Dahlia replied. Thelma decided to tell the girl how it all began. The Duchess and the Marquis hated Isaac. The Marquise even constantly wished for his death. It started from the very first time Isaac appeared in the house. That day, the Duchess had practically thrown him out of the manor and made him live in the annex. It was not surprising, for it was a rare family that would welcome an illegitimate child into their home. On top of that, the Jufgenschultz family was one of the most prestigious nobility in the entire country. The Marquis is going to come here next month. Rest assured that once he arrives, the estate will go into a complete frenzy. I want to warn you to be careful not to get too close to Sir Isaac. Anyone who gets involved with him will meet a sad end, and since you are now running things in the outhouse, you should enter through this entrance. It's hidden and reserved for estate staff. Take this. You'll need it. Thelma held out a small black box to Dahlia. Thelma! What are you doing here? Quickly run to the main entrance of the manor. A message came through that the Marquis will be arriving any minute. The excited maid exclaimed. She dashed past Thelma and Dahlia in a bullet. Marquis Maximilian Jufgenschultz had an extremely bad temper and liked to drink frequently. If you take one more sip from that flask, I'll throw it out the window. Lady Carla Jufgenschultz warned her brother. In spite of his sister, Maximilian drank the contents of the flask in 2 gulps. We don't even have an official vacation yet, and all you do is drink all the time. Carla resented. Maximilian yanked the book from her hands and threw it out the carriage window. "What's wrong with you? Why did you throw my book away? It's not like I didn't finish reading it," exclaimed Carla, looking out the window. "Read it, you idiot! Just look what that nasty bastard did while we were gone. I'm sure you'll be asking me for a drink and a trip to the outhouse yourself." Maximilian showed his sister the application for admission. "Go to the outhouse soon. Once the Marquis arrives, it will be difficult for you to go there. But once you are done with all your business, then go straight back to the main entrance. We will be getting ready to greet the Marquis," said Thelma to Dahlia. Before reaching the outhouse, Dahlia noticed Isaac being attacked by some guy. "Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you enroll in the same school as me? You petty, vile bastard! Is this all part of your brilliant plan to embarrass our family?" screamed the boy. Dahlia remembered seeing an image of this guy in the paintings of the manor. It was Marquis Maximilian Jufgenschultz. The girl really wanted to intervene, but she knew that servants were forbidden to get involved in scandals and quarrels of gentlemen. She could be fired for such behavior. Isaac noticed that from behind the trees, the maid Dahlia was watching what was happening. "Disgrace the family, you say? I think you've already done that with your grades. Of course, it's not your fault you were born so dumb, but still, your grades are very depressing," replied Isaac to the Marquis. "I am already silent about your predilection for gambling and women. I even wonder what other noble families think of the Jufgenschultz family. And don't tell me you forgot about Maya Obrick. So it's back to the house, Maximilian. And about the school, I think the Duke applied on my behalf, didn't warn me about it. But rest assured, I'm not going to go to the same school with you. I'd rather stay in this outhouse for the rest of my life than go to school with you. By the way, for that is exactly what you wish. But the next time you step out of line, I won't be so generous to you." Maximilian snorted angrily and headed for the manor. "And I see you have a penchant for peeking and hiding, don't you?" asked Dahlia as Isaac approached. "My lord, I take it I have come at a bad time. You two don't seem to have the warmest of relations, do you? But I don't think the Marquis hates you. My little sister and I fight all the time, too," said Dahlia, looking out from behind a tree. "Well, here we have both quarrels and merciless bullying. It was much calmer here when Max stayed in his dorm. When the school year ends, all hell breaks loose at the manor every time." Isaac held out his hand to the girl. Dahlia touched Isaac's palm. He squeezed the girl's hand and pulled it toward him. "And you would be wise not to run into Max. He has some nasty habits, especially when it comes to maids," whispered Isaac. "But that can't be. I mean, he's the heir to a ducal title. He can't do that to people." Frightened, the girl thought. "I can guess what you're thinking right now, but I want to assure you that nobles are just as ordinary people as we are, and you didn't miss here, just like us," said Isaac to the girl. "Oh, you're out of your mind. Send that child to a public school. He shouldn't go to a place where only nobles are educated. How could you think of such a thing?" Duchess Irmina Jufgenschultz shouted in an irritated voice. "Calm down, mother. That statement I tore to shreds and threw it in his face," said Maximilian and grinned caustically. "Max, how dare you meddle in your own father's affairs?" Duke Garin Jufgenschultz asked, surprised. "Because you, father, continue to violate the rank order. Have you even thought about how it will affect me if he actually goes to the same school as me?" Maximilian exclaimed. "And how will it affect you? Your grades are just embarrassing. I think you're already doing enough for yourself and your reputation," replied the Duke. "And you just figured you could send your second son, this bastard, to the same school I go to? You want to get good grades out of him? Don't tell me you're going to put together a new application for him?" Maximilian continued to shout. "By the way, Isaac personally told me that he won't be attending the same school with me. So don't waste your precious time on this nonsense." Maximilian left the dining room with a loud slam of the door. "I'm off to my office. Get me some drinks," said the Duke and left the dining room as well. "And why does this happen every time we meet? Your father can be so obnoxious at times. He already has the perfect heir to the ducal title. I have absolutely no idea why he throws such a tantrum over another boy, said the Duchess. Carla, go and check on your brother Max. If they don't calm down, no one will show up for breakfast tomorrow. See if you can get your brother to react more calmly to everything. They've been arguing about the outhouse ghost again. They have the same conversations every time. It's still unfair that we have to suffer because of it. The estate workers in the servants' quarters were indignant. In the evening, taking food to the Marquis's room, Dahlia heard him promise to tear up Isaac's application for admission to the school every time. The girl had absolutely no idea why the brothers hated each other so much. Dahlia, Lady Carla's escort is short on manpower. Come along with me, said the girl to her roommate, Edina. Apparently, Lady Carla is on vacation. She wants to stay at the estate longer. She came home so quickly that some of her maids haven't arrived yet, so we're going to have to help her, Edina explained. The Duchess is changing the lady's schedule based on Marquis Maximilian's plans. Lady Carla is the only one who can calm the Marquis when he is angry. Lady Carla has just returned to her room after calming the Marquis's latest tantrum. We should be careful not to inadvertently upset her. Edina knocked cautiously on Carla's room. The girl invited her in. I don't think I've seen you before. By the way, I'd like to point out that you're beautiful. That's a real shame. Tell me your name, asked Carla to Dahlia. Dahlia introduced herself to Carla. Every woman is beautiful in her own right. And why are you calling your assistant beautiful? You must be joking, my lady? Edina asked with a smile. No, at this point I'm being serious. Your new friend is indeed beautiful. Well, since she is beautiful, it will only create confusion at work. So I feel sorry for her, and I want to warn her to watch out for Max. If he sees her, he won't leave her alone. Dahlia, don't worry about Lady Carla's words, said her friend Edina to the girl that evening. I'm fine. I was just a little puzzled, that's all. I somehow thought that such a wealthy family would be more laid back. I mean, they have absolutely everything one could possibly want. Why can't they find any common ground? Dahlia said thoughtfully. They have so much that they just can't share it, so they fight all the time. The fact that they have everything makes them want more and more. And you thought money solved everything? How naive you are, Edina said to the girl. Dahlia lived a very poor life. Her younger sister suffered from asthma. When her parents died during the war, she had to take care of her sister. The girl took any job to earn at least a little money. One day, Dahlia thought that it would be better for her younger sister to die to end her torment. Realizing her thoughts, the girl was very frightened. She couldn't believe that when you think about it. How could such a horrible thought come to her mind? The feeling of guilt towards her sister pushed Dahlia to constantly solve new problems. The girl promised herself that she would never allow herself to think about her little sister's death again. She would do anything to heal her. Dahlia is determined to make it through the Duke's estate. She simply must continue to work here as a maid. Dahlia planned to save up the necessary amount of money and then open her own flower store afterward. With her income, Dahlia would be able to buy the medicine her sister needed. 2 months passed. Winter came. The Duke promised the servants that he would give everyone a small vacation. Dahlia was anxious to go home to see her sister. Dahlia, you have a letter from your sister. Edina pulled a white envelope from her pocket. She writes that she's feeling fine. Usually her asthma worsens in the winter, but it's been fine this year. I was very worried that her condition would worsen. With my next paycheck, I plan to buy a new comforter for her, Dahlia exclaimed as she finished reading the letter. Suddenly, there was the loud sound of a gunshot. It's the Lord! He's coming here again. He's been going into the forest to hunt every day lately. He often protests right in front of the outhouse. During the day, he is in the forest making various noises, and in the evening he comes home and makes a mess. Narrated Edina. And, as usual, we're constantly cleaning up after him with whatever he left behind. We barely have time to just eat, and it's all because of that ghost lord. Edina, you are mistaken. Sir Isaac is not to blame for anything. It's not like he asked to be born out of wedlock. It's just a coincidence. Dahlia felt sorry for Isaac, so she decided to stand up for him. Thelma entered the room and motioned for Dahlia to follow her. Since the Marquis has made it unsafe to be near the outhouse, the decision has been made to move Sir Isaac to the far room in the north wing of the main building, Thelma explained. This is not your section, of course, but Sir Isaac has stated that he is more comfortable with just you. It is up to you to clean Sir Isaac's room. Just remember, no one must know he is here. Proceed with extreme caution. When Dahlia entered Isaac's room, she found him asleep. Up close, he looks like a doll. His skin is pale and glowing, and his eyelashes are long and black as if dipped in tar. He's much prettier than most of the girls here, thought Dahlia, looking at the sleeping Isaac. Could you please not look at me like that? I'm a little embarrassed, mumbled Isaac without opening his eyes. The girl bounced fearfully to the side and apologized. I understand you came here to clean up. Do you mind if I stay and watch? Isaac asked the girl. Dahlia didn't bother to cross him. After a while, the room glistened with cleanliness. Isaac was surprised at the girl's skills. I wonder why he decided to watch me clean. I've never seen a nobleman interested in the cleaning process, the girl thought to herself. And how long have you been working here? Isaac asked the girl. Dahlia answered him that she had been working at the manor for over 3 months now. Isaac wondered where the girl had worked before that. Before coming to your house, I worked as a maid for the Duchess of MacPhaon. I worked there for 6 months. The Duchess turned out to have quite a temper. She was always taking it out on the maids, so a lot of the girls didn't stay more than a week. Dahlia replied. And how did you manage to stay with her for a whole 6 months? Isaac wondered. My little sister is in an orphanage at the moment. She has asthma. I have to work to pay her medical bills. My parents were gone during the war. There is no one to help her but me, Dahlia explained. Are you talking about the civil war in Wooblan now? Isaac clarified. The girl nodded silently. She felt an ache in her heart and a heaviness on her soul. It pained her to think of her dead parents. Dahlia, I would like to point out that you are truly an amazing girl. I've heard that the civil war in Wooblan was particularly brutal. No one was spared there, but you still managed to survive. You must have been a very young child back then. I can't imagine how hard it is to lose both parents and raise a little sister. It's really unbelievable. It amazes me how hard you work. I doubt I'm the only one who's faced something like that because of the war. And I'm a firm believer that if you suffer long enough, you're bound to be rewarded. The girl objected. I like that you try to think positively. I wonder if I work as hard as you do, will anything good happen to me? Isaac asked. Of course, a man is always rewarded for his labors, exclaimed the girl. Dahlia noted to herself that Isaac was different from the other nobles. He is interested in the feelings of a humble servant girl and her daily duties. He tries to ponder serious things. You mean you're cleaning the ghost's room? Why didn't you ever tell me that before? Adina exclaimed. You wouldn't yell like that or people might hear us. Thelma asked me not to tell anyone. But now that Isaac has been moved into the house, I won't be able to keep it from you. I want to ask you not to tell anyone anything, Dahlia replied. Of course I will keep quiet. After all, you and I are friends. I'm just surprised that you're cleaning at a ghost's house, replied Adina. Since the Duchess and the Marquis couldn't be allowed to find out that Isaac had been moved to the main building, Adina was cleaning the hallway while Dahlia cleaned Isaac's room. If someone was coming down the hall, Adina would immediately alert her friend. As luck would have it, Isaac was constantly giving Dahlia little errands. First, he asked her to bring him ink, then a book, then blank sheets of paper. Using extreme caution, the girl brought what Isaac asked her to bring. You once told me that you like adventure stories. Read this book and then share your opinion the next time you come to clean my room. Isaac handed the girl the weighty book. Returning to her room, Dahlia ran into Carla in the hallway. Oh, don't get so well. You and I are alone in this hallway. I had another maid bring me something I can wear over this. I think I look really silly in this outfit, said Carla. It's only been a few days since I debuted, and I'm already being forced to walk around dressed like this. I feel like I'm going to be sold while I'm still popular in the market. My lady, you look beautiful, said Dahlia. And I think I show people too much skin. By the way, what is that in your hands? Are you reading books? My mom is going to be furious when she finds out. Do you want to get fired? Carla yanked the book out of Dahlia's hands. Do you even know why Isaac is called a ghost? He consumes anyone he takes a liking to. Anyone who sympathized with Isaac or cared about him would either disappear or die. I've warned you, and you can proceed as you see fit from here. Carla handed the book back to Dahlia. If you start any kind of relationship with Isaac, I won't stop you. You are free to do as you see fit. Just make sure no one finds out about it. This house is as messy as Max is. Try not to let any of your problems get out. If anyone gets wind of your weaknesses, you're dead. A sparrow flew into Isaac's room and sat next to him on the chess table. This sparrow has the same brown feathers as Dahlia's hair. If I dress her in a nice dress and make her hair nicely styled, she will no doubt be much prettier than Carla. Thought to himself Isaac. I wonder why she is so nice to me. Why does she react to me differently than the other maids do? And if I decide to take her for myself, what will she do then? When Isaac first saw his father, he knew that before him stood the conqueror, the hero of the Republic. Isaac dreamed of being by his father's side, of being his assistant, but it didn't work out that way. From childhood, Isaac was labeled an unwanted bastard child. The Duke kept him close to him because his youngest son reminded him of a lost love. The Duke missed Isaac's mother, so he visited him regularly. Can you imagine? We were served crabs for dinner last night. I've never eaten something so marvelous before, and it's all thanks to Lady Carla. A delighted Dahlia told Isaac. Ever since she made her debut, everyone around here has been trying their best to deliver her gifts. The perishable food she sends to us. I'm used to eating whatever comes to hand, so it was an unforgettable experience. I didn't know such delicious food even existed. It made me forget about all my worries and problems for a while. You mean to say you had some problems? Isaac clarified. Well, Dahlia wasn't sure what she could tell Isaac about her conversation with Carla. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. By the way, I don't want to go into details, but something depressing happened to me too. But after talking to you, I feel so much better, Isaac admitted. So, if you ever want to discuss your problems with me, feel free. I'll be sure to listen to you. I'd also like to point out that there are some dishes that are tastier than crabs. And if you ever want to answer crab again, just let me know. Suddenly, the Marquis burst into the room. He swung the doors open with a kick of his foot. And what do I see? What's a maid doing here? I thought you had no interest in women at all. Turns out you're a very ordinary man, Maximilian exclaimed. And when are you going to stop assuming everyone around you is just like you? My room was dirty and needed cleaning, that's all, replied Isaac. It's a good thing I found a maid in your room. Here, get them all ready. Maximilian tossed a sack under Dahlia's feet. Rabbit carcasses fell out of it. Near the outhouse, I saw a small herd of rabbits. I figured they'd be great for dinner, so I killed them all. Hey, wait, don't move! I didn't give you that kind of destruction! Maximilian suddenly exclaimed and pointed his gun at Dahlia. Get out of here. You've been lingering here. Isaac took the girl by the arm and led her out of his room. Dahlia objected to him that she should take care of the rabbit carcasses that were now in the bag. I told you to get out of here quickly. Now! I'll take care of the rest myself, Isaac said in an angry voice and slammed the doors in front of the girl. And why did you just kick her out? You could have asked her to cook a delicious roast for us, Maximilian exclaimed. Dahlia had absolutely no appetite. She was thinking about Isaac. A few days ago, Dahlia had asked him if he was bored living in the outhouse apart from everyone else. Not at all, because I have the trusty Hoover. I also have lots of animals that visit me sometimes. One day I fed a flock of rabbits, after which they decided to live in the barn not far from the outhouse, replied Isaac. As soon as I get a chance, I'll show you those rabbits. Dahlia couldn't help but think about how Isaac felt after Maximilian had killed his rabbits. The book and 2 bottles of ink you asked for, sir, said Dahlia, and handed Isaac the items she had brought. Dahlia, you seem extremely tired lately. If I remember correctly, your vacation starts tomorrow, right? Have a good rest and come back with renewed energy. Isaac asked the girl. Dahlia knew that while she was on vacation, Maximilian would return to school, and Isaac would be moved back to the outhouse to be cared for by his servant Hoover. I wanted you to do something. I have written it down on a piece of paper. Please open this envelope when you get on the train. Isaac handed the girl an envelope with a red seal. Once on the train, Dahlia opened the envelope. Inside, she saw a stack of money and a note. I'd have to work for 10 months without a break to earn that much. What kind of errand is this that I've been paid so much for? Thought Dahlia, carefully reading the note. In the note, Isaac wrote that the money was an apology for Maximilian's behavior. Isaac explained to the girl that the money meant absolutely nothing to him because he could not spend it as he was forbidden to leave the estate. Maximilian asked the girl to make sure that she spent all the money and then told him about it. As soon as Dahlia crossed the threshold of the orphanage, her younger sister Laurel immediately rushed into her arms. How many times have I told you not to run? Vigorous activity makes you cough, reminded Dahlia to her sister. The girl replied to her that she just couldn't contain her emotions. She was too happy to see her. Dahlia began to show her sister the gifts she had brought. In addition to plaid, things, toys, the girl brought with her just a huge amount of all kinds of sweets. Dahlia, aren't all these things worth a lot of money? Laurel exclaimed. You don't have to worry about that. Remember I told you once that I was serving a certain lord on the estate? He gave me money that I can spend here. The man is very smart, sweet, and kind, Dahlia replied. You mean he's your type? Asked Laurel. Yes, he is very handsome, outwardly resembling a doll, but that's absolutely not what I meant. He is kind-hearted and even lets me borrow his books. I respect him as a person. And how could someone like him like someone like me? Dahlia objected. And why can't he like you? I mean, you're beautiful and good at what you do. It seems to me that your master might like you. And didn't Jenny from the candy store marry that marquis? Laurel asked. Dahlia knew Jenny's real story, but she didn't want to tell her little sister Laurel anything. She was too young to hear it. Dahlia had met Jenny at the orphanage. The girl fell in love with a local marquis, and by marrying him raised her status. It was the kind of life all girls dreamed of, but reality is always different from fairy tales. Dahlia knew that late in her pregnancy, Jenny had to go to the nearest slum to find shelter there. She decided to give birth to the baby and leave the city for good. Dahlia received a letter from her with the Ankh city stamp on it. Dahlia knew that Ankh was the capital of corrupt women. Afterwards, it turned out that Jenny was not the only victim. There were other girls who dreamed of love. They were manipulated. They were nothing more than disposable toys of the nobility. Just because we're orphans doesn't mean we can be treated like this. And I'm sure Sir Isaac isn't like that. He has lived a difficult life with the label of bastard child. I'm sure he knows what it's like to be left behind like that, thought Dahlia before going to bed. I can see how he treats maids like me. I'm sure if someone he likes comes into his life, he'll treat them with all sincerity, even if that person is lower in social status. Back at the estate after her vacation, Dahlia also decided to give Isaac a gift. The girl found Isaac on the terrace. A large Band-Aid was stuck on his face. Isaac explained to the girl that he had accidentally fallen and hurt his face. But stop talking about my face. Better tell me how you spent your vacation. How is your sister? Asked Isaac. The trip went well. I got to see my sister, too. She has grown so much since the last time I saw her, I was really surprised by that, Dahlia replied. I've grown up, too, said Isaac, stepping in front of the girl. And it's true, you've stretched out a lot. How can that be? We haven't seen you at all. By the way, how old are you? Dahlia asked. Isaac answered her that he would soon be 15. He's younger than me. I never would have guessed. He seems very mature. Ran through the girl's mind. Dahlia, you keep holding this all the time. Is it some kind of object from this room? I can put it back where it belongs. Isaac reached out to the bundle that Dahlia clutched tightly in her hands. This is my gift to you. It's a book. I think it will be of interest to you. I realize it doesn't compare to the gift you gave me, but please accept it. Dahlia handed Isaac the bundle. Thank you for this gift. To be honest, I've been wanting to read this book for a very long time, Isaac confessed. The gift? I've never had trouble getting the things I need delivered to the estate. I feel like this is the first time I've ever received a gift. I can't wait to read this book, thought Isaac, strolling through the garden. I heard you went back to the outhouse, so why are you walking around outside the manor? How many times do I have to tell you not to show your face when I'm here? If you need anything, you go to the servants. In an angry tone, the Duchess said, What a shame! I have to live in the same territory with you! Hissed the Duchess, walking past Isaac. Sometime later, Carla decided to visit her younger brother, Isaac. That wound on your face, did Max do that? Asked the girl. If you're here to give me a couple slaps, too, I'll take them. Just finish it soon and get out of here, said Isaac to the girl. I have no intentions of physically harming you. I just want to ask you to stop pissing Max off. What good will come out of you provoking him further? Where will it end? Carla asked. Carla, somehow I think you've got it all wrong. Max started it first. This time he got angry because my suggestion was chosen during the family meeting. But the only thing I did was mutter a few phrases in response to His Excellency during the chess game. He had no right to be angry at a conversation he wasn't even present for. I am not talking to you now about that incident. What did you say to him afterward, after the meeting? You threatened him again with Maya Obrick, didn't you? Clarified Carla. Don't you know how angry he gets every time someone brings it up? I'm begging you so much. Don't do this to him. You don't know anything, after all, because you haven't seen him since it happened. Sounds like it has nothing to do with me. Don't waste oxygen on me, Carla. Go back inside, said Isaac to his sister. That's exactly what this has to do with you. If you make me uncomfortable again, I will make sure the same thing happens to her. I'm talking now about the girl who visits your chambers almost every day, Carla exclaimed. I'm sure you don't like seeing someone you care about suffer. Carla, I know you're aware of exactly what I'm capable of, and you know why I let you and your family manipulate me however he wants. Isaac squeezed the girl's hand tightly. You also know why I, as the bastard of this family, have never made any attempt to escape my circumstances. You're a bright girl, Carla. You wouldn't do anything foolish knowing all that, am I right? I don't mind being manipulated, but I'm not thrilled with the way you're trying to take control. Listen to yourself. You do realize you could end up like Renee, right? Carla pulled her hand out and pressed it to her chest, trying to calm her frantically pounding heart that way. Be extremely careful on your way back home, said Isaac to the girl and walked towards his outhouse. He's a real monster. His appearance of acting helpless in front of my mother and letting Max bully him doesn't match who he really is. Carla thought angrily to herself. My lady, here's the wine you asked for, said Dahlia. Carla looked carefully at the maid who entered. She never would have thought that her monster brother could like someone. It's a good thing it was you who brought this wine. I've been wanting to hang out with you for a long time, Carla exclaimed. The girl decided since she couldn't control Isaac directly, she could manipulate him with Dahlia's help. Carla knew that many people she knew were jealous of her since she was the ducal daughter. However, they did not know the price she had to give. The girl suffered under the oppression of the darkness that permeated her family. Carla constantly had to pretend that she was completely unaware of what was going on around her. The girl knew that her father was a real egoist, who had his family's good name at the forefront. For the sake of a good name, he is ready to do terrible things. Also, no one guessed that the girl had to turn a blind eye to all the lives that were taken by her cruel family. Sometimes, Carla even had to clean up the dirt behind her brother. Maximilian prioritized violent pleasures. Carla knew that sometime later she would be sold to another rich, vile, and filthy family. She would become the bride of a noble descendant. The girl really didn't want that. She was tired of a life of lies and cruelty. It was alien to her. When it became known that there was an illegitimate son in the family, Carla's mother fainted, and Maximilian ran away from home. It was on that day that Carla finally experienced joy. She rejoiced that there would be someone in the house more miserable than her. Carla talked her father into showing her her younger brother, the illegitimate Isaac. The boy lived in the lawless capital of the empire in the city of Ankh. When the girl entered Isaac's room, he was covered in blood. Beside him lay the breathless body of his mother, Renee. Isaac began to assure Carla that he had nothing to do with it. Carla didn't believe the boy, but decided to cover up the crime. She took Isaac with her. Carla knew what Isaac could be like. He was a real monster. "I heard that you are one of the youngest maids here. How long have you been working at the manor?" asked Carla to Dahlia. The girl answered her that she had been working at the manor for over 6 months. "I heard the head maid praise you a lot. She said your record is short, but you're smart and good at what you've been assigned." "You know, I've been watching you closely lately. You turn out to be not careless like all the other girls, but extremely cautious. I can see why the head maid made you in charge of the outhouse." "You have already observed that Isaac is not such a bad fellow, have you not?" "Yes, my lady, he is very kind and good," replied Dahlia. "But the way he lives is really terrible, am I right? Have you noticed that he has absolutely no friends? Also, he's not allowed to come and go from here at will. So I want to ask you to continue," said Carla to the girl. "You want to go for a walk with Sir Isaac? That's not going to happen," said Isaac's assistant Hoover to Dahlia. "If I may, I would like to ask him personally about it," exclaimed the girl. "What's the matter? What are you two talking about?" asked Isaac, who came out to the noise of voices. "Sir, would you like to take a walk around the city with me?" asked Dahlia to Isaac. Standing nearby, Hoover muttered that if the Duchess found out about this, Isaac would be in big trouble. "You want us to walk around the city together? And that's a great idea. I'm going to go change," Isaac exclaimed. The previous evening, Carla had given Dahlia the family crest. With it, any servant could leave the estate and return to it whenever they wanted. "I don't think your coming together will lead to anything bad. However, be careful not to get in my mother's or Max's face. And to be honest, I think it's time for my little brother to explore the outside world already," said Carla to the girl. Since Isaac had never been out of the manor, he was excited to see even the mountains. He was surprised by the fact that their peaks were covered in snow all year round. "I want to confess to you that I have never seen mountains before. I have only read about them in books," Isaac exclaimed, breathing in the frosty air. "We still have a long way to go, so we need to worry about your health." Dahlia tied a scarf around Isaac's neck. "Let's go." Dahlia held out her hand to Isaac. The boy noticed that the girl's fingertips were reddening from the cold. "Okay, let's go." Isaac took Dahlia's hand and led the way. The first thing Isaac wanted to do was visit the bookstore. The girl knew that the bookstore was in the market square near the fountain. Heading towards the bookstore, Isaac noticed a small gift store. He decided to buy Dahlia a warm scarf. Dahlia noticed that while paying, Isaac showed the cashier girl a blue card, the exact same one Carla had given her. "Sir, can you tell me what that blue card you used to pay was?" Dahlia asked as they left the store. Isaac explained to the girl that it was a family plate. You could use it to buy anything you wanted. "I can't believe Lady Carla gave me such a powerful item," Dahlia thought in surprise. Isaac tied a newly purchased scarf around the girl's neck. Dahlia was surprised at the care Isaac showed her. She was once again convinced that he was very kind. Dahlia saw a pharmacy sign. The girl asked Isaac if he could wait for her for a while. She wanted to buy some ointment. At her previous job, Dahlia had heard that this particular pharmacy sold an ointment that helped get rid of scars. The girl saw several scars on Isaac's face. She decided to give him the ointment as a gift. "I'm sure of it. This scarf is made from the skin of a snow rabbit. How could that girl buy such an expensive item? It was probably given to her by someone. She looks like an ordinary servant girl." The pharmacy visitor whispered in her companion's ear. Dahlia heard the woman's loud whispers. The girl hadn't expected that the scarf Isaac had given her could be so expensive that it attracted the attention of others. Could this girl be socializing with someone close? Maybe she has a sponsor? You don't just give gifts like that for nothing. The woman continued to whisper. The last words hit Dahlia extremely hard. "Excuse me, but what did you just say?" asked Dahlia to the woman. "I have no idea what you're talking about right now. Better mind your own business, maid," replied the woman. When Isaac and Dahlia were returning home in the evening, the girl gave him the scarf. "From now on, don't give me any more such lavish gifts. Such things do not suit me. Others might think I stole them," Dahlia explained, seeing the look of surprise on Isaac's face. "But I want to give you expensive gifts. It's well known that the more expensive the gift, the better it is, isn't it? And I thought that scarf looked very nice on you," Isaac remarked. "Thank you for such kind words, my lord, but I will ask you not to do it again," Dahlia exclaimed. "I understand what you are trying to tell me. I will be more considerate from now on," replied Isaac to the girl. "Take this one last thing. This thing is inexpensive, and I know for a fact you'll like it." Isaac held out a small pink box to the girl. Inside it was an open-work ribbon. The ribbon was indeed very beautiful and hardly expensive. Now no one would say she had been harboring it or had gotten it by dubious means. "Since you gave me a gift, I want to give you something too." Dahlia held out to Isaac a small jar of ointment that healed wounds and scars. "It took me a long time to get that patch on your face out of my mind. I know for a fact that injuries like that leave scars. And I know you couldn't have gotten hurt like that just by stepping off. Did someone hit you? It was the Marquis, am I right?" "My lord, if ever someone hurts you, or if you ever want someone to be there to help you, then call for me. Though truth be told, I don't know how I can help you myself, but call me anyway." "Are you suggesting I call you so you can grab me and run away with me?" Isaac asked in an incredulous tone. "Exactly. When the going gets tough, you shouldn't keep it all to yourself," exclaimed the girl. "And if I call you to come with me, will you go? Would you run away? Why would you do that? Why are you so worried about me?" Isaac asked. "Because I like you," answered Dahlia briefly. Isaac couldn't believe that Dahlia liked him, for she knew him completely unaware of him. They had only known each other for a few months. There were moments in Isaac's life that he wanted to forget forever. Isaac's mother was an ordinary woman named Renee. She was the Duke's mistress. Through her behavior, Renee incurred the wrath of the Duchess. Pursued by assassins, the girl found refuge in Anka's brothel. Renee decided to raise her son on her own. She planned to send Isaac to the Duke when he would have turned 18. Renee was quite an angry woman. She often took out her anger on her own children. Isaac's older brother Hoover was especially hurt. Renee saw her children as mere tools, her own personal means of social advancement and revenge. They were the ones she could give orders to and take out her anger on. Isaac often heard his mother beating Hoover as he cried and cried loudly for help. But since Isaac was too young, there was nothing he could do to help him. One day, Renee received a letter from the Duke. He wrote that he was going to take his son Isaac away from her. Renee realized that when the Duke took Isaac away from her, she would be left penniless with Hoover in her arms. With Isaac's help, the woman planned to get into the Duke's estate, if only as his mistress. That day, the woman grabbed a knife with the intention of killing Hoover. Isaac had no choice but to strike first. It was the only way he could save his brother from death. Isaac often dreamed of his mother. The woman constantly convinced him that he was a completely worthless person that no one could like. In the dreams, Renee convinced Isaac that he would end up all alone, and that everyone he loved would turn away from him. A week later, it was announced at the estate that Carla's future husband had finally been chosen. It was the infamous man nicknamed the Earl of Swine. He was indeed huge, with a big, hanging belly. But the Count's main problem was not his looks, but his disgusting tendency to touch women inappropriately. His chosen victims were almost always the younger maids. But once they became pregnant, they were immediately thrown off the estate. Rumor had it that he often gave his victims poisonous mixtures to avoid future problems. It seemed that he perceived the unfortunate maids as stray animals with no one to help them. "Edina, look at this. Why is that maid carrying lilies? I thought this hall was only supposed to have roses," Dahlia exclaimed. "These lilies are in honor of the anniversary of Lady Obrick's death. She was the daughter of Viscount Obrick. The girl was a devoted maid to the Duchess. She died about a year ago from an accident," Edina explained. "A few of the maids raised some money from their stipends to buy flowers for her tombstone. By the way, this girl's death is rather strange. According to the official version, she had an unfortunate fall. She was found near the outhouse." "Edina, refrain from talking about Lady Obrick on the estate. The Duchess may turn a blind eye to the fact that we don't honor her death, but she never forgives gossip," said Thelma as she approached. "Dahlia, take these books and take them to Sir Isaac. He has been asking for them for a long time. Just make sure no one sees you." Thelma held out a stack of books to the girl. "I'd like to point out that you overreacted last time. You shouldn't get too close to Sir Isaac." "I know, I've been told that before, and more than once," Dahlia said in an annoyed voice. "Maya Obrick and the Duke's youngest son. A mysterious death near the outhouse. Bit by bit, the picture is starting to come together. Now I understand why Thelma and Lady Carla warned me to stay away from him," thought Dahlia on the way to the outhouse. "But something doesn't add up here. I saw the Marquis immediately let Isaac go as soon as he heard the name Maya Obrick. He definitely knows something." Since Hoover often made a remark about the girl's loose hair, Dahlia decided to tie a ribbon around it. "Come in, I'm glad you came. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. We haven't seen each other in a few days," said Isaac to the girl. Dahlia noticed the white lilies on Isaac's desk. "Are these lilies meant for Maya Obrick?" asked Dahlia. "Yes, these flowers are for her. How did you guess?" asked Isaac. The girl admitted that she had heard some gossip about her. "And what exactly was in those gossips?" clarified Isaac. "Oh, nothing, just silly stuff, never mind," replied the girl. "They were saying I was the one who killed her, am I right? And to be honest, it's not the first time I've heard that. There was no one else living in that annex but me at the time. Lady Obrick always liked to walk around the grounds," narrated Isaac. "I understand perfectly well why I became the prime suspect in this case. To be honest, it doesn't bother me at all. I just want to believe that you don't care about any gossip." Suddenly, Isaac touched the girl's cheek. Dahlia involuntarily flinched in fright. If you react like that all the time, I'll only want to tease you more." Laughing, Isaac said. "Mister, you don't have to act like that. You're driving me into the red," Dahlia muttered, embarrassed. Without saying a word, Isaac put his arm around the girl. Dahlia tried to pull away, but he wouldn't let her go. "I don't care about those who slander my name and reputation, but I don't know what I would do if I found out one day that you had heard such things, and it made you dislike me. I'd rather dissolve and disappear than meet the day when you'd hate me. But I suppose everyone will be glad of that outcome, for the ghost of the outhouse will be gone at last. I won't be happy about it. I would never want you to disappear. How can you say such a horrible thing? You ought not to say such things. I really like you, my lord, and it doesn't matter who or what anyone says," said Dahlia, and also hugged Isaac. "Dahlia is so innocent. I just said some nonsense, hoping she would take pity on me and reassure me with a warm touch, and she bought it. I want to stand here forever in her arms." Isaac thought to himself, "Wait, what's that feeling? Why do I feel like kissing her so much? Isn't that a wrong feeling? And why am I not ashamed of it? No, it's all happening to me because she's around." Isaac leaned over the girl, hoping to kiss her. Suddenly, some rustling was heard. "You're with the maid? I thought you were in the room alone," exclaimed the Duke, who entered. "What can I do for you at this early hour, Your Grace?" asked Father Isaac. "Besides correspondence from the capital, I have received a rather strange document. I've come to hear your opinion on it. Ask your maid to bring us some tea," said the Duke. In the hallway, Dahlia ran into Hoover, who was pushing a cart in front of him, which had tea and sweets on it. The girl asked Hoover for permission to take this cart to her room. And why did you decide to take this tea? It wasn't enough to flirt with Sir Isaac, so now you've decided to play coy in front of the Duke as well, Hoover asked. I beg your pardon? That's a serious accusation from someone who knows little about the situation. Dahlia was indignant. What is there to know? You women are all the same, replied Hoover. Are you reacting this way because Sir Isaac was the first to show his affection for me? Asked the girl. After listening to his son's opinion, the Duke decided to return to the manor. He ordered Dahlia to take the books and scrolls to investigate after him. Dahlia, I can tell you that Isaac does show concern for you. I have seen it with my own eyes. I would like to ask you for one favor. I want you to help me atone for my sins to my son, said the Duke to the girl. I feel my guilt because of my failure to save Isaac's mother. That woman disappeared with Isaac when he was a mere infant to escape my wife's threats. I was heartbroken when I learned that they had sought refuge in some dilapidated settlement. And you know what grieves me the most? The fact that when I came for Isaac, his mother was nowhere to be found. She's still being sought. Detectives are constantly looking for witnesses to her disappearance, but at the moment, there hasn't been a single lead. Well, anyway, I'm firmly convinced that I will see her again someday. I really hope I can regain her trust after all. I'm going to prepare Isaac for adulthood. I'm building a solid foundation for him. Isaac cannot be my heir, as he is not the firstborn. And the complete lack of brotherly love between him and Max precludes the possibility of them working together in the future. For Isaac to lead a stable life, he must either obtain a title of nobility and manage a small piece of land, or gain independence by starting his own successful business. I must admit, he seemed a bit lethargic to me when we first brought him to the estate. Imagine my surprise when he began to successfully study the subjects of the Royal Academy on his own. He turned out to be very capable. The only thing that confuses me is that he is completely devoid of any ambition. It feels like he doesn't like anything, doesn't want anything, and doesn't pursue anything. He refuses to leave the outhouse. That's why I want to ask you to continue. I ask you to help Isaac nurture his ambition, but such an important task would be much better suited to someone as experienced as you. Who am I to encourage your son to do anything? Dahlia asked, surprised. It has come to my attention that you have been driving Isaac around town. No one has ever done that before you. He hates the very thought of strangers. It was you who encouraged him to go to a city full of strangers, replied the Duke. Also that day, he appeared in person in my office to ask me to influence his wife. He was afraid that my wife would punish you for what you had done. I realized then that Isaac was willing to act for you. For the sake of spending time with you, he will leave the God-forsaken outhouse. The head maid told me that you lost both of your parents in the war. Did I understand her correctly? Isaac must have seen you as a kindred spirit. You both have a difficult childhood. You shouldn't think I'm pressuring you. It's just that with your help, I want to provide Isaac with everything he'll need in the future. You just need to encourage him to open up and be willing to take it all in. I think you can handle it. If Isaac could get rid of the prejudice of being a bastard, he would be accepted by society as the son of a duke. Already that would be a great accomplishment. Isaac deserves a happier life than he has now, Dahlia thought to herself. After talking to the Duke, Dahlia began to encourage Isaac to study new subjects every day. I don't want any teachers coming to me or any school. I hate having other people in my personal space. You are the only exception, Isaac admitted. I don't see the point of sitting in class since I'll never get a chance to put what I've learned into practice. Why don't you try practicing again? Maybe after all this time, things have changed. And if you don't like something, you can stop practicing immediately, Dahlia insisted. So you want me to study? Isaac asked the girl. She nodded cheerfully. Sir, I wish for you to become a successful person, someone that society would be proud to accept as a member of the ducal family. Look at your father. The mere mention of his name is enough to make people aghast in awe, Dahlia exclaimed. Would you want me to be the object of discussion? For people to fawn over me? Isaac clarified. Yes, sir. If you prove yourself, become a full member of society, take me to balls and lavish events, I will be the happiest girl in the world. Dahlia touched Isaac's face with her hand. And you really want that? Isaac asked. Of course I want that. When you call me to the ball, I will put on one of the most beautiful dresses, take your hand, and walk slowly down the stairs. My dress will be adorned with various ribbons and details to add to its opulence. I will also wear corduroy shoes. I've never worn high heels in my life, so I don't know how tall I'll be in them. As for dancing, honestly, I only know how to polka dance, but I'm not sure it's danced at balls. If you've never danced, I can teach it to you, said Isaac, gently putting his arm around the girl's waist. You know, when I first got here, they started teaching me as part of the etiquette curriculum. And even then, there was all this fuss about why an illegitimate son was taking etiquette lessons in the first place. It all just made me want to drop the class more. Dahlia, all of this is foreign and uninteresting to me, but if it's important to you and you want it, then I will become an important member of the family. I promise I will take you to the ball soon. Sir Isaac is so innocent. He may look tall and grown up, but he still has the heart of a little boy. He's like a duckling that hatched from an egg and began to think of his mother as the first thing he saw. Dahlia thought to herself. He made an idol out of whoever first showed him a drop of kindness. I firmly believe that once Isaac leaves the outhouse and joins the other nobles of high society and explores the vast world outside, he will forget about the maid he once knew. Father, I just saw a teacher come out of your study. Who will he be studying with? Asked the Duke as Carla entered. Carla, this matter is absolutely none of your business. I've lost count of the number of times I've told you not to get involved in family matters. But that's not why you came here, is it? What do you want from me? Asked the Duke. Father, I would like to ask you for one favor. It has to do with my wedding, said the girl. Didn't we discuss everything regarding your marriage of convenience? And if I remember correctly, you were quite agreeable, said the Duke to his daughter. This conversation was not to his liking. He felt it was already settled. Father, I'm not asking to cancel it, just postpone it for a few years. I am ready to get engaged even tomorrow, however. I want to get married in 5 years. Please allow me to do so, the girl asked. Carla, don't think I have no idea what's going on. I heard that every weekend at dawn you go into the woods. Answer me, who do you see out there? It's happened to me too, so don't think I'm trying to reprimand you. But if you notice you're being carried away by an unsuitable suitor, I suggest you end this foolish relationship before it causes trouble. The Duke gently stroked his daughter's head. This relationship is not foolish. This is my last chance to experience freedom. I just want you to give me a reprieve. I'm not asking for anything supernatural, considering you want to sacrifice the rest of my life to marriage to that pig, Carla exclaimed. Fine. I'll give you a reprieve, but no more than 3 years. That is my last word. You may not approach me with this matter again. For now, I would like some peace and quiet. You may go. Our conversation is over, replied the Duke to his daughter. As soon as Isaac resumed his studies, there was a change in the estate. The ruined reputation of the Duke's youngest son began to recover little by little. Dahlia, why are you in such a good mood today? Isaac asked the girl. You have no idea how all these false rumors have been upsetting me. I'm glad the attitude towards you has changed. By the way, I was wondering if I should also start working hard to fulfill all my dreams, Dahlia replied. You're too busy as it is. You haven't been coming to the outhouse lately to practice your dance with me. Isaac walked over to the girl and rested his head on her shoulder. Sir Isaac, do you remember what I told you about Wublan? There was a civil war in that city a few years ago. Now, my dream is to return to Wublan and open a flower store there, told Dahlia. I heard that it takes about 5 gold to set up a flower store. At the moment, I have 1 gold and 22 silver. If I keep trying hard, I can earn 1 gold per year. I have 4 more years of hard work left. What about me? Do you want to leave me here? Isaac asked the girl. He held her tightly against the windowsill. I thought you wanted to see me make a name for myself here. You wanted me to take you to the ball. Why do you say you dream of going back to your city? You're a traitor. Come here. You didn't give me a chance to finish my sentence. In 4 years, you will be of age, and you and I can go to any city. You don't have to stay here. You can come with me, the girl exclaimed. I really want to show you my hometown. Wublan is always warm and has lots of greenery. There are beautiful houses situated by the sea. And for the Harvest Festival, there's a large-scale celebration in the town square. Please don't ever tell me again that you're going to leave me. It is extremely distressing to me. Isaac gently kissed the girl's hand. Okay, whatever you say. Smiling, the girl replied. The long, cold winter came. Isaac's training was going well. Even the Duke noticed that his son was memorizing new information at an alarming rate. The servants were busier than ever. Lady Carla's engagement ceremony was approaching. Dahlia received a letter from her sister Laurel, but the girl did not feel joy. Unfortunately, Laurel's condition had worsened. All that was left was to hope and pray that she would be able to survive the cold winter. Dahlia decided to distract herself. She went to Isaac's outhouse, bringing snacks with her. What is this? It's not like our usual desserts at all, noticed Isaac. They are prepared especially for the party. Lady Carla got engaged to her future husband today. She was very beautiful. She was wearing just an incredible dress. I felt like I was looking at a great queen, Dahlia exclaimed. I thought people were lying when they said one dress could cost as much as a house. But when I saw the quality with which a dress could be made, I realized it was true. There were so many layers of lace on Lady Carla's dress that I couldn't count them. Are you jealous of my sister? Isaac asked. Of course I don't. Wearing a dress to throw an engagement party for the man you love is every girl's dream, replied Dahlia. Dahlia, I want to ask you one question. If I offered you a dress like this, would you accept my marriage proposal? Inquired Isaac. Sir, if you offered me to marry you, I would accept without a second thought and without any dress. Even if you had nothing, I am still sure that any girl would gladly agree to marry you, Dahlia replied, and laughed merrily. I'm honored to hear that from your lips. Well, Dahlia, I swear to you that I will find you a dress even more extravagant than the one my sister was wearing. So marry me, Isaac said in a firm tone. All right, it's a deal. On the day you come of age, I will marry you, Dahlia promised. She really hoped that in a few years Isaac would forget about this conversation. On the day of your majority, if your feelings persist, make me a formal proposal. Dahlia gathered the remaining snacks and left Isaac's room. You insist on a formal proposal? Dahlia, how stupid you are. You keep seeing me as a young, naive boy. You have no idea what's on my mind or what I'm capable of. Isaac thought to himself. You don't even know that a sentence spoken by you in such a casual tone will become the source that feeds my wildest fantasies. I will be able to take control of all my thoughts about our future and eventually make them a reality. I finally have something in my life that I will wait so frantically for. His sister Carla entered Isaac's room. Tell me, why did you suddenly start being taught? I distinctly remember asking you to stay in the shadows. We agreed you'd keep a low profile, reminded Carla. And where on the day of your engagement do you get the time to wonder about such matters? I'm impressed with your abilities. Where do you find the strength to do all this? Isaac asked his sister. Isaac, you're not getting through to me. You're trying in vain, Carla replied. You got engaged to your future husband today. How did the one you really love react to that? Asked Isaac. Where have you had time to see us yet? With an angry glare, Carla asked. You don't have to answer that, though. I don't care. Father knows all about it anyway. You mean your father knows who you're having an affair with? Isaac clarified. Don't you think you're prying where you're not asked? Carla asked in an annoyed voice. Relax. I won't tell anyone anything, but you'll have to cooperate with me. Help make sure your mother and brother stay as far away from the outhouse as possible, asked Isaac. And if you can find a way to keep Max in town during the vacations, that would be even preferable. Are you willing to honor my request? What the hell are you up to already? Are you really determined to get the title of Duke? Carla exclaimed. Calm down. Don't let your wild imagination fool you. Isaac placed his hand on his sister's shoulder. My plan is, after being in the Duke's good graces for some time, to leave here with a tolerable title attached to my name. I shall leave this house forever. I will speak no more of your secret love life. Let's make a pact. You help me and I disappear from your life forever. After you receive the title, you will not hear from me. I consider this an extremely favorable arrangement for you. Isaac extended his sister's hand for a handshake. Carla pushed her brother's hand away from her. Not that I have any choice. I'm going to have to do this. However, explain to me why you're doing this. When you came to this house, you promised me that you would be quieter than water until the day you died, and you even managed it for a while. Don't tell me you're doing all this because of some maid. Unlike you and your entourage, I want to live a proper life, replied Isaac. But you're the ultimate monster! Do you really think that someone as warped as you can really start living the right life is worth wanting to? Carla exclaimed. A few days later, a letter arrived from Maximilian. He wrote that he would soon spend all his vacations in the dormitory. He did not want to leave the capital. The Duchess was saddened that she would not be able to see her son for the next couple of years. Lady Carla looked as if she had expected such news. All the servants were overjoyed. The next 3 years flew by unnoticed, filled with harmony, peace, and quiet. Everyone needs to quickly line up in one even line. I am sure you're aware that we are gathered here to welcome the Marquis. I expect the best behavior from each of you. The headmaid shouted loudly. The Marquis returned home in a disgusted mood. He wanted to see his father as soon as possible. When Maximilian entered the house, the first thing he saw was his younger brother Isaac. And what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be living in an outhouse in the woods? Who do you think you are, strutting around here like you're at home? Has the heir to the throne changed while I was away? Maximilian exclaimed. Get out of here! You don't belong here! Shouted Maximilian and grabbed his brother by the chest. If you lay a finger on me now, you will regret it greatly. Never forget there is always an audience in this house, whispered in his brother's ear Isaac. How dare you speak to me like that? Maximilian shouted and swung his fist. Isaac managed to intercept his brother's fist. Maximilian hadn't expected his little brother to become so strong in 3 years. If you are going to be the head of this family in the future, you should take care of yourself, said Isaac to his brother. Dahlia, did you know that yesterday there was an altercation between Sir Isaac and Sir Maximilian? After arguing with his brother, Sir Maximilian got very drunk. He even left the party early, told her friend Edina. Of course he shouldn't have done that. After all, the Duchess spent all day planning everything in anticipation of his return. In the end, the Duchess and Lady Carla were busy cleaning up the mess he made. Good thing the Earl of Newitt was there. He was the one who saved the day. Thelma approached Dahlia and told her that the headmaid wanted to see the girl. You'll need time to think things over. I won't rush you. By the way, on your way back to your place, take this box into the outhouse. The master wants to give it to Sir Isaac. The headmaid held out the purple box to Dahlia. I should definitely share this news with Isaac, thought Dahlia cradled the box in her hand. Isaac wasn't in his office, but Carla was. Isaac's gone. His father called him in. Why did you come? What did you want from him? Carla asked. I am running an errand for my master, my lady, answered Dahlia. Dahlia noted to herself that Carla had changed a great deal in 3 years. The woman who used to be sharp as a blade, who used to shine like a magnificent jewel, looked increasingly haggard as the wedding day approached. Dahlia also noticed that Carla had begun to come to Isaac's outhouse frequently. It wasn't as if she was growing closer to her brother. So why was she coming after all? Tell me why you came, Carla asked. Sir Isaac will be attending an official feudal meeting today. For the occasion, the master has bought some suitable jewelry for him. Dahlia opened a purple box and showed Carla its contents. Here you come at me again. Wouldn't you rather go for a walk between the flower beds? Asked his sister as Isaac entered. When I walked here, I saw Hoover working in the flower beds. It would be better for the lady to walk on the other side, Dahlia remarked. Are they too chatty for a common maid? Carla exclaimed and jumped out of Isaac's office. I guess I shouldn't have told her that, mumbled a surprised Dahlia. Dahlia, I overheard that you're about to be promoted. Feigning embarrassment, Isaac said. And who told you about that? I was the first one who wanted to share this news with you, exclaimed the girl. I overheard the headmaid talking to Thelma about it. I apologize if I ruined your surprise, said Isaac. But I'm not entirely sure it's good news. If you become a high-ranking maid, doesn't that mean you'll be a lot busier than you are now? I don't see you much lately as it is. But you're also very busy lately. By the way, you need to attend the feudal lord's meeting so that you'll be invited again next time as well. So go ahead and change your clothes so as not to be late, replied the girl. I received a message that the final phase of the test rides in this sector has ended. All we have left to do is organize the opening ceremony. All in all, everything is ready for launch, reported Isaac to those present. Good job, Baron Dattern praised Isaac. To be honest, I didn't even expect it to be handled so quickly, exclaimed Earl Newitt. Why is this bastard sitting at the table with such confidence? Have these old men already forgotten the shameful circumstances of his birth? Why do I get the feeling that no one cares? Annoyed, Maximilian thought to himself. Marquis Maximilian, you seem extremely anxious today. You are most likely used to such gatherings by now, but don't worry, you'll get used to it quickly, said Count Newitt. I would like to point out that your brother, Sergeant Jufkenschultz, has always been extremely worried about you. I believe he will certainly support you. You mean to say that while I was away, Isaac was promoted to sergeant? Maximilian clarified. You are absolutely right. While you were away getting your degree, your brother was learning the basics of administration, replied Count Newitt. You're all out of your minds here. How can this even be? Maximilian shouted. Sergeant is a respected title that can be held by normal members of our feudalism. It is for those who have no other noble titles. It is absolutely not a title that can be given to a filthy bastard. Maximian rose from his seat and walked towards his brother. As he approached his brother, Maximilian punched him in the face with his fist. The Duke looked at his son in surprise. He didn't expect such aggression from him. The Duke was very ashamed of Maximilian's behavior. By his actions, he was literally smearing the good name of the family, which had been earned by hard work for many years.